What's going on, guys? Crafty Rick here. Today I'll show you how I made this Super Mutant Behemoth from Fallout 4. This is the continuation of an old video I made a while back where I show you how I made my first Super Mutant Behemoth. So let's get to it. Alright, I'm using the same base figure I used last time for my Super Mutant. You can go check out that video on my channel if you'd like. For this improved version, I'm adding articulation of the elbows. I used joints from an old action figure, and I added a screw to help it support the arm. You can see here I already worked on the other arm. In order to set it in place, we're going to use a two-part epoxy. I mix it up, fill up the arm, and then I push the joint in. I let it dry for a few minutes and then just twist around a little bit so you can have some mobility of the joint. I fill up the gaps and then press them firmly so you can get a snug fit. After that part has fully cured, we do the same thing with the lower side of the arm. This simple modification gives us full elbow mobility. I sculpted the back and gave him a hump to resemble the look of the Behemoths from Fallout 4. Once the epoxy has fully cured, I check the mobility to see if we have any issues. Now we can move on to the head sculpting. I drilled some holes on the side of the head and put some toothpicks in so they can support the ears. I keep sculpting and smoothing out using water. And then I slowly start sculpting the whole face. This face certainly looks better than the first one I made. I really like how this one came out. I also added some random veins all over its body. Now we're gonna start working on the legs. The feet on this figure don't move at all, so I carved some channels so it can freely move. That modification made the figure really unstable, so I had to add weights to the lower parts of the legs. I did so by using two miniature cannonballs with a two-part epoxy. I filled both legs up and then I pushed in the ball bearing as far as I could with a chopstick. I put the feet back in and I started moving it around. That way a channel can be created where the foot can move freely. Once that's done, you just have to let it cure and hope for the best. Now I just stand it up and make sure that it's correctly balanced. And it looks good to go. In this clip you can see I was experimenting with some inks as I try to dye the white parts of the figure. I check the joints again and make sure it's correctly balanced. And you can see it can even moonwalk. Everything's moving as I intended, so now we move on to my favorite part of every build, the paint job. This custom figure will be listed on my Etsy shop, so make sure to check it out. Your purchase supports the channel. Thank you. To prepare the figure for the paint job, I prime it first with black paint. And then I base the figure with green. My green monster recipe is kinda simple, check it out. I use raw flesh for the base, followed by a dry brushing of Death Guard green, which then I follow with a wash of Athonian Camo shade. And to finish up, a really light dry brushing of Corn red, and cover everything up with a gloss varnish. Here are the results. And that is it for this one, guys. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.